Hello, I'm so glad to be back with you. I feel like I've been away, but I didn't go anywhere. I was still here on a creative, crazy roller coaster. Welcome to Servant Crafts. We're so glad to have you. And if you're returning, thanks for coming back. We are glad you did. And if you're new, welcome, and we hope you join and become a member of our community and are inspired by using your talents that God gave you to bless others. Well, if you dare jump on this crazy roller coaster with me, buckle up. It all started with my daughter asking for a prayer shawl to be made. And since I'm part of that ministry at my church, no problem, I was happy to do it. So I went on search for something to help me be inspired. So I was looking for a particular stitch. I had kind of seen something and I just wanted to get some ideas. And in the process, I found this lovely idea of putting a spray of flowers in the corner of my prayer shawl, or in this case, the Afghan. And I thought, that's perfect. I want to add that. That's a touch that I need. So I went on the hunt. I wanted rosebuds. I went on a hunt for crocheted rosebuds. And in the process, I found these women who are making these amazing amigurumi roses. They are so realistic. I watched probably 10 or 12 videos, different videos on how they were being made. And I will put links in the description to them and to some of the ones that I watched. So I kind of came up with what I did was a lot like Mary J. Handmade, and I'll make sure I link that for you. And I will write out the pattern for you. I did jot myself some notes so that I made them the same each time. And I decided, what can I make these roses for? Now I've got my roses for the prayer shawl. What can I use these for? And I realized we were only about 10 days away from Mother's Day. And I wanted to make both my mom and my mother-in-law some of these beautiful roses as a gift for Mother's Day. We found little crystal vases on Amazon, which I'll link for you as well. And I went on a crocheting rose frenzy and made probably 12 and a half roses in the matter of 10 days or less. So that's where I've been. They turned out lovely. They were so much fun to do. And I started thinking of all the occasions. I mean, I haven't stopped making roses because I'm still thinking of occasions and reasons to give these roses. And I call them my forever roses because they will last pretty much forever, at least for our lifetime forever. They won't die or dwindle or need to be watered or spill or be eaten by your cat, which is what my cat does. So I thought I could give them as birthday gifts for friends or my daughters. I could give them as a gift to a friend who's got a new job. What a lovely thing to bring on your first day to work, to place on your desk and not have to worry about it spilling or making a mess anywhere, or about having enough light or what's going to happen to it on the weekend. And also I thought, what about a bride's bouquet? What about one or two of these beautiful flowers in there that she can keep forever, knowing that she carried them on her wedding day? What about just a special gift that says, I care, if you're going to visit a friend, or just forever, I love you. So I am making roses, and I think I'll be making roses for a long time to come because I have so many reasons to make them. So I hope that you join us. I hope you give it a shot and make some roses. Let's just paper the world with forever roses that come from the heart and from our love. Also, I'd like to ask you to do me a favor. If you crafted something for Mother's Day this year, would you please leave it in the comments so that we can all share in it and possibly get some ideas for next year? I don't want to be in a rose frenzy again next year, or in anything kind of frenzy. I'd like to be more prepared. So help us with some ideas that maybe you have done either this year or in the past. And thank you so much. We appreciate that. And I love getting ahead of the game. Here you can see the notes I made so that I would remember how I decided to make these roses. I began by using a 2mm crochet hook and Aunt Lydia's crochet thread size 10. Both of these I will have links to in the description, so if you need to purchase them, if you use our links, it helps us out a little bit and we appreciate it. Thank you so much. There are 11 petals in one rose, 4 small, 3 medium, and 4 large, and each petal will begin the same way with a magic ring. I wind it around my finger and then slip it off and secure it with a slip stitch. Then in the magic ring you will make 6 single crochets and tighten the ring down. Don't worry if the ring is not completely tightened. You'll get another chance to tighten that up in round 3. So don't forget to use a stitch marker also to mark the beginning of each round. So now in round 2, you're going to put 2 single crochets in each stitch. So you'll have a total of 12 single crochets. Now in round 3, before you start round 3, this is where it's a good idea to get that final tighten into your magic ring. And then you are going to work 1 single crochet in the first stitch and 1 single crochet increase in the next. So 1 single crochet in the first stitch and 2 single crochets in stitch 2, and you're going to continue that all the way around. I work about the first 4 or 5 stitches on top of the tail, the beginning tail. That way when I finish this petal I can just snip off that tail and not have to worry about ends. Round 4. In round 4 you're going to put 1 single crochet in each of the first 2 single crochets, and in the third you're going to put a single crochet increase. So 1 single crochet in each of the first 2 stitches and 2 single crochets in the third. The final round is round 5. This is for a small petal. In round 5 you are going to put 1 single crochet in each of the first 3 stitches and 1 single crochet increase in the fourth. Again, 1 single crochet in each of the first 3 stitches and 2 single crochets in the fourth stitch. You're going to go all the way around with this, and that will finish your small petal. To end off, I remove the stitch marker, place a slip stitch right where that marker was, and then pull up a loop and tighten it down tight to create the knot. Now you can snip that thread and also clip your tail. Don't worry about that tail, the ending tail. That'll get worked in when you assemble. Now it's time for a medium petal. The medium petal is worked exactly the same as the small petal with 1 additional round. So work a small petal from start to finish, and on round 6 you're going to do a half double crochet round. So in this round you're going to put 1 half double crochet in each of the first 4 stitches and a half double crochet increase in the 5th stitch. So 1 half double crochet in each of the first 4 stitches and 2 half double crochets in every 5th stitch, and finish that around and fasten off just like a small petal would fasten off. Now you will need to make 2 more medium petals before you start the large petals. Now a large petal begins exactly the same as the small petals. You're going to work round 1 through 4 like a small petal. For a large petal, the 5th round is a half double crochet round. You're going to put 3 half double crochets in the first, 1 half double crochet in each of the first 3 stitches, and 1 half double crochet increase in the 4th stitch. So 3, 1 half double crochet in each of the first 3 stitches, and 2 half double crochets in the 4th, and work that all the way around. In round 4, you are going to use 1 half double crochet in each of the first 4 stitches and 1 half double crochet increase in the 5th stitch. So again, 1 half double crochet in each of the first 4 stitches and 1 double crochet increase, or 2 half double crochets in the 5th stitch, and continue that pattern all the way around. Now round 7 is a little different. You're not going to work all the way around. You're going to put 1 half double crochet in the first 5 stitches. Then in the next 8 stitches you'll work 1 double crochet, and then in the next 5 stitches you'll go back and work 5 half double crochets. So 5 half double crochets in the 1 half double crochet in each of the first 5 stitches, 1 double crochet in the next 8 stitches, and 1 half double crochet in the next 5 stitches. This brings you to about halfway around the petal. Then you're going to fasten off just like before and work 3 more of these petals for a total of 4 large petals. Then you'll be ready to assemble. No, you won't be ready to assemble, not quite. Now it's time to work the green collar that goes up underneath the rose petals. This is done obviously with green thread, and it is begun. The first 2 rounds are identical to a petal. So magic ring, 6 single crochets in that magic ring, and then round 2 is going to have 2 single crochets in each single crochet. Now when you tighten this collar down, do not tighten it all the way. You need to leave space to slide your stem wire through that center ring. So be careful not to tighten it too tight. At the end of round 2, you should have 12 single crochet stitches. Round 3, you are going to work 1 single crochet in each of the first 3 stitches. And again, this is where I work over top of the tail, so I don't have to weave in. So 1 single crochet in each of the first 3 stitches, and in the 4th stitch work 2 single crochets, so do an increase. 3 single crochets in the first 3 stitches, and in the 4th 2 single crochets all the way around. You should end with 15 single crochets at the end of this round. Now you'll work 5 of the little pointed leaves that will be on this collar. So you'll begin by chaining 7 right where you're at. In the second stitch from the hook, you'll put a slip stitch. In the next stitch, a single crochet. In the next stitch, a half double crochet. And in the last 3 chain stitches, each get 1 double crochet. So 1 double crochet in each of the last 3 chains. Now skip 2 chains and go into the, 2 stitches, go into the third and make a single crochet to fasten that leaf down to the center piece. And you will work that then 4 more times, so you have a total of a loop, 5 little tight, and snip. And you can clip off that original tail. The other tail you'll just simply work into the glue when you assemble your rows. Now it's time to work the leaves. I put 1 leaf on each rose. Sometimes I get crazy and make 2. You can, it's up to you, however many you want to do. But you will begin with chain 9, again using the green. In the second chain from the hook, you'll put a single crochet. In the next chain from the hook, you're going to use a half double crochet. In the next chain, a double crochet. And in the next 3 chains, you're going to work a treble crochet. And in the last 3 chains, you'll work a double crochet, a half double crochet, and a single crochet. Now chain 2, and you'll work back down the other side of your foundation chain. Chain 2, slip stitch in the second chain from the hook, put a single crochet in the first chain from the original foundation chain, then a half double crochet on the other side, a double crochet in the next, and now a triple crochet. And I'm working over the tail when I'm coming back this way. I'm working over the foundation tail. So 1 treble crochet, 2 treble crochets, and there should be 3 spaces left, so you're going to put a double crochet and then a half double crochet and then a single in the original foundation chain. Pull up a tight loop and you can snip off your original tail and leave that ending tail is fine. That'll get wrapped in to your Flores tape when you work on the stem. So now you're ready to assemble. I like to lay my petals out so in the right order so that I don't mix anything up. Have all my pieces ready to go, and I will be using a glue gun to assemble this. I have a mini glue gun. I'll put a link to a mini glue gun and glue sticks in the description if you need to purchase one, and that'll be a simple way to do that. Again, we thank you if you need to do that for using our links. So my glue gun is warming up, and I'm going to prepare my stem wire. I will also give you some links in the description of the stem wire that I purchased. I would purchase a larger gauge wire than I did, but this worked. It's a 16-inch length of wire, and so I folded it in half and twisted it. And then to add a little bit more strength, I used some florist wire, which was green, and wound that around that as well. I used that florist wire also in the leaves. That's what gives you the wire to attach it to the stem. And I'll give you a link to that wire and the Flores tape as well. I'm going to cut two about 3-inch, 2.5, 3-inch lengths of that fine florist wire. And that's what I'm going to use to work down into my leaf. I start at the tip and go down one side of the stitches that went into the original chain. So one side of those stitches until I come out the end. And then I'm going to bend the wire there at the tip and come back down the other side, those stitches that were on the other side of the chain. This does get to be a little fiddly. Just be patient and work with yourself. If you don't get through each stitch, it's no worries. The wire, might show a little bit, but it's dark green. It really doesn't. It doesn't catch your eye when the rose is assembled. And once you get that other side through to the end, then you're going to come back and kind of adjust your leaf and pinch that bend at the tip of your wire nice and tight as you can get it, and that will then create the leaf that you can attach to the stem. You've got two stem wires now, or two wires at the bottom of your leaf. I take those two and twist them together with the tail of the yarn being caught in that twist as well, so that you just got one wire that you're going to be working with to attach the leaf to the stem. Now your glue gun should be hot and you're ready to assemble. So make sure that you work on the wrong side of the crochet work for your petal. You are going to apply glue from your glue gun to the bottom half edge, just the edge of the bottom half of your petal. And I catch my tail, I make sure my tail is caught in that line of glue. Then you're going to start with your stem wire. I like to put the ends of the stem in the center of the flower there, and you are just going to twist and wind that flower around the wire as tightly as you can at the base. It will open up a bit at the top of the flower, and that's what looks so much like a rose. Now you'll take each petal the same way, tucking the tail, making sure you're working on the wrong side of the crochet work, and applying glue to the edge of just the bottom half of the petal. Now you're going to overlap the last petal there matching up the ends, the base ends. They will all be attached at the same spot, kind of at the same level, let's say, and wind that around as tightly as you can and pinch that down and make sure that it is tight. You will get hot glue on your fingers. It's hot, but it doesn't usually burn. So do the same thing for all 4 of the small petals, overlapping the last petal just slightly, and keeping the bottom edge of the petals level. Now it's time for the medium petals. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to apply a bead of glue to the edge of just the bottom half of the petal, just like before. You're going to keep the bottom edge of your petal level with the previous petals and overlap slightly as you apply this petal. And these petals will stand a bit taller because they're a bit bigger. And you'll do the same for each of the next 2 petals for the medium size. Again, gluing just the bottom half and overlapping slightly but keeping the base level. Now, for the final petals, the large petals, your tail is on the side. So now you're going to start gluing again just the bottom half edge of this petal with a small bead of glue, but I hold that tail in there, so I'm going to catch it. And now you're going to drop the level of the bottom of this petal to down right by the stem wire. So this is going to cover up the bottom edge of the other petals and overlapping again as you go the previous petal that you've applied. And do that for each of the 4 petals. Again, your tail is on the side of these petals, so that's kind of where you begin your bead of glue, halfway around, and overlap slightly, but drop down towards the stem wire and cover up the base of all those other petals with these last large petals. Now you're ready to apply the collar. First, slip your stem wire through the space in the center of your magic ring where you didn't tighten it all the way and bring it up close to the base of the flower. Get your glue gun and glue all the way around the base. Don't worry about the leaves, just the base ring, and slide that up against the flower tightly. I always make sure I catch that tail in there and press that up against the base of your flower. Now it's up to you if you want to glue those little petal leaves. Sometimes I like where they are and how they curl and I leave them, and sometimes I feel like they're exposing too much of the base of the flower, and I give them a tiny little dot of glue right at the base of each leaf. Now it's time to just shape your flower. Open up your blooms, or petals, in opposite way of how you applied them. This is why you only glue the bottom half of the petal. It allows you to shape your flower and really make it a lot more lifelike by folding down those petals and looking like the rose is opening. Now it's time to apply your leaves and to cover your stem wire. This is Flores tape, and I just leave a tiny bit at the top where I can hold it against the stem and tightly wind it around the wire. Now the Flores tape, as you stretch it, becomes a little bit more sticky. It does have a little bit of an adhesive quality. So when you get down where you think you'd like to place a leaf, just stop winding your tape and place your leaf there, and then wind again. And right here next to the base of that leaf, you're going to want to give it 3 or 4 turns of the tape right there to hold that leaf really secure, so that when you bend the leaf out to make it look very leaf-like and realistic, it doesn't tear through the Flores tape. So again, about 2 or 3, 4 turns there. And this flower is going to get 2 leaves, so it's time to apply the second leaf. Again, give it 3 or 4 rounds there, and then just keep spinning and going down till you get to the bottom of your wire. You're going to cut it off, about 2 inches away from the end, so you have about 2 inches extra, and you'll wind that back up on the stem wire. If it doesn't feel like it's adhering really well, sometimes mine did, sometimes it didn't, just give it a quick little dot from your glue gun and you're good to go. Now just make sure that you wind back down that little tab you left at the top underneath. You can wind that back down on the stem, shape your flower, and you're done. You've got a beautiful little rose there. Very realistic. When I walked in the door for both my mother and my mother-in-law, they thought I brought them real roses until they looked closely. Here's some variations I did. I don't know if you can see it, but the final round of each of the petals has an iridescent thread through the yarn that I used. So I used regular white yarn throughout the whole petal, and then on the final round I used this iridescent yarn. You can get really creative. On some of my mine I used a darker pink. If I made a pink rose, I used a darker pink, or if I made a white rose, I used a light pink for the edge or the last round. If you're using yellow, a little peach accent can be nice. And then I had these beads out for something else, and I thought, put a bead in the middle of the flower. That looks kind of sharp. And then here's one I did using 2 strands of thread as though they were one. It made a much larger bloom. So unfortunately, my stem wire was not quite sturdy enough to really hang on to this and keep the bloom up. But I used a light pink and a dark pink together. The original pattern, some of the people were using a size 5 crochet thread, which is twice as large as a 10. It's kind of opposite. So I thought, well, put 2 10s together, you got a 5, right? So I tried it. It did make a much larger flower. I loved how it turned out, but I did need a much sturdier stem wire to do that. And so in the leaves and the collar of that flower, I used double green as well. So it made it the leaf and the collar bigger because I used 2 green threads. So get creative, go for it. If you think of something, give it a try. I also put a bead in the center of that pink rose. It kind of became fun to find a bead and attach it in there. Made it look kind of, I don't know, like it's blooming something special.